Hello, everybody. This is James here back with the Throwback Afternoon. Today's episode, we are going to be playing some Mario Kart. Now, this is the newer Mario Kart, so I understand it technically is outside the kind of guidelines for being retro, but the fun part of it is what I thought would be a fun idea is because it is almost Christmas time and it's almost holiday time, is to go back through on here and play some of the old, more winter, snow, or ice themed type tracks, like race tracks and stuff on here. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. The next couple videos here is going to try a couple of the. So we'll go to. I don't know what the difference so much is. We'll go 50cc starting off here. No teams. We just want, or just like all items. You just give me all items? Normal items. There we go. We'll keep it on normal. All vehicles are allowed. Courses we definitely want to choose. Now there is 6 of these. I went and counted. Some of them are the older tracks from like 64 and Super Nintendo. Some of those. And some of these are going to be, I think some of them are newer, but my goal is I found 6 different ones that I want to do, and we're going to go through and do each of those for just kind of like a fun gaming thing to kind of take us back. So this first one, I guess, is one of the newer ones. So we'll start there, and it is Mount Wario. So just going to do some racing, guys. Just play a little Mario Kart, because even though it's a newer Mario Kart, in my opinion, Mario Kart of any kind is nostalgic. So yeah, versus race. I had to go to the versus because it's the only way it let me actually select. So this one, yeah, compared to like the old school, I don't know if we ever dropped out of a plane on like Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and Super Nintendo for sure. I had to go with Donkey Kong. Speaking of nostalgic stuff, like one of the first games I remember playing as a kid, oh yes, I timed that just right, was my dad and grandpa got me real heavy into video games with the Super Nintendo, and I remember playing on the Super Nintendo with both of them, but especially a lot of fond memories with my grandpa, and one of the things me and him played a lot and that he taught me so much was Donkey Kong Country, I think, is the one for 64, or not 64, sorry, for Super Nintendo. So I know there was like Donkey Kong Land, Donkey Kong Country. They switched it up a couple times, but the original Donkey Kong game for Super Nintendo is the one that I remember. He would play Donkey Kong, I'd play Diddy, and that was just like one of the first real gaming experiences I remember. Of course, played a lot of Super Nintendo, the Mario World, Super Mario World, and Mario World 3 and 2, and all those. But again, some of the main memories I remember was with my papa playing Donkey Kong Country and that original, and then obviously Donkey Kong Country 2, where it's Diddy and it's Trixie or Dixie in the pirate ship game. And I love that one. That one I have a lot of affection for, just because that was like the first one where I was really able to kind of play on my own and know what I was doing a little more. And so, but we had both of those, and we had the third one, I believe, as well, where you're playing as like Trixie and her like brother. I don't even remember his name. He wore like a blue onesie as like a baby, but like a really big baby. So yeah, I put them on normal because I thought they'd be a little more of a challenge, but I mean, they might hit me blue shells. Here, take a green shell. It was a nice leisurely stroll. Now look what I've done. Look what I've done. That I can't say I didn't have that coming. Eat bananas. Oh, now we're on the final stretch. Looks like here we go. Speed boost, speed boost. Oh, it still got me. Oh, it got me before I got to the things. You dirty Dans. But no, I'll definitely am looking forward to doing some of those games later. I think would be fun because they have all of those on the Switch. Through the Nintendo Switch Online, you can play the old Mario and Donkey Kong games. If you are like me, a big part of my childhood, speaking of nostalgia, is when the first Animal Crossing game came out for the Game Boy or GameCube. Sorry, the GameCube. And I still remember when that one came out. The graphics were not nowhere near as good. But man, it was like the first. I mean, I guess there were others like Harvest Moon, kind of like those living simulators, and obviously you had like Sims. But I don't know, for us, that was the first big one we really got into, and because you could have 4 houses, you could only have 4 people, and it was no online. It was only on the console. You get off your little train and meet Tom Nook there for the first time, and also you couldn't pick where you're. Like, the houses were in that one little town center. Like you couldn't move your houses around like you can now and just have them like on the beach or up in the mountains. They were all right there, and you had the little gyroids out front. But yeah, it was so for us at the time, anyways, revolutionary. Like we had never seen anything like that. Fish, catch bugs. And even though we couldn't play at the same time multiplayer, now how in the world does that make sense? I was in front of him, and that red shell should have hit him, not me. It makes no sense, but it's okay. And now I've got blooper. But I remember the fun thing was, even though we couldn't play online on the original Animal Crossing like together at the same time, we could still very much so it had me, my younger brother, my stepbrother who's about a year older than us, and then my best friend that lived up the road. We all 4 filled in the 4 houses, and we'd just take turns. That was back in the days where you'd take turns. You had so much fun watching each other, or a lot of times we just play something different while we were waiting. And the joy of it is the surprise of checking out each other's houses, because you could always come and see what new upgrades or improvements have been made. I think they're about to be and the roof shell took me out, but it's also about to take them out. So I may stand a chance here. And that second race, they really came alive, didn't they? Come on, Karma Chameleon. Okay, now we're getting into one of the older races. GCN, I believe it's GameCube Network. So for GameCube, what was it? Mario Kart Double Dash. And I remember at the time when it first came out, I was not a fan of Double Dash. For whatever reason, I really just didn't like it as much as the other Mario Karts, and I guess because it was new, right? That was when they introduced the mechanic that you would have 2 racers, one on the front, one on the back, and one on the back would like throw the items and stuff. And now with that, I mean, you still control both parts. It's still controlled basically the same, but I think the items changed up depending on who you had on your back. I think like you got certain items more frequently when you did it that way. And I remember there was a lot of newer characters that was introduced in that one too. That wasn't here. Get that red shell for me. I don't think he ate it because I didn't do the little picture. Anywho, so speaking of Koopa, my favorite character in Double Dash to race with, my favorite racer was who was it? It was the Paratrooper, the little red turtle with the wings. He was my favorite one to have in that game. And shoot, down underwater. And I don't know why. It's just after a little while, like him and I don't really know who I had on the front that much. I used to race with Yoshi a lot, like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I was a Yoshi kid. And even on like Mario Party, on the old Mario Parties, I always was a Yoshi main. But after getting married, that is also my wife's favorite to use in Mario Party, Mario Kart. She's going to be Yoshi main as well. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to fight her over it. You know, which on here, the cool thing about the new ones is you can both be Yoshi, just multicolored Yoshis, which I think is really cool. But I ended up switching and using Donkey Kong for Mario Party in a lot of these games, again, because of the memory and nostalgic of my grandpa. Especially now that he's passed and stuff, I just felt it was a good homage to him to change it up and start being Donkey Kong. And there's a red shell. And I got splatter on me. Here we go. Lap 3, third lap. Here we go. Let's roll it. Just take a minute to appreciate all the like Christmassy and icy stuff. Other than those Shy Guys skating. How many of you out there have been ice skating around like Christmas time or any time of the year, I guess? I've never been ice skating. I never was much one for even rollerblading, and so it just felt like ice skating was rollerblading but harder with a higher difficulty. But yeah, if you like ice skating, roller rinking and all that stuff, be sure to let me know. Let me know how you like it. Hey, we're about to make it. We're about to make it. We're about to make history. Yeah, we made it. Can't stop us with that red shell. Get out of here. So, but I think I'm going to split this up into 2 parts. So, be sure to tune into the next video where we will take on Ice Ice Outpost, which is one, again, I think it's a newer one that I've never done, but it's definitely interesting. We'll be taking on Ice Ice Outpost, and then we'll be taking on, I know there's GBA Snowland, Game Boy Advance Snowland, and lastly, Merry Mountain, which is one of the new ones that just came out. So that'll be the 3 for next video. So be sure to check out part 2 of holiday-themed Mario Kart.